what was the vision at that point? Like, do you remember? Because obviously streaming was not a thing. The internet
streaming wasn't a thing. But
off.
what's crazy is
the vision?
I did have as early a version as anyone can claim that they saw that streaming was the future. I think that was where I was going. Because here's what was going on.
That's like more like 2012, 2013. Like
no, but this was 2007, 2008 when I was there. But here's what was going on then. Go to My PC was a very popular software that was being used mostly by businesses to create virtual group meetings. And then WebEx was a tool where you could, again, take virtual control. Virtual machines were really becoming popular. Yeah. And I was building a website called Chess Face Live because it was Facebook and live. So this is crazy. I have the domain. I still have the original designs. And my idea was that Chess Face Live would be fully integrated with WebEx and that people would come in. WebEx already had chat rooms at the time, the software did, and that you would log into a virtual lesson by a chess educator who would then provide at scale much bigger lessons than was currently available. Because I was like every other chess professional running the gambit of going in and out of schools, barely making ends meet. But the gambit is you teach in schools, you scale that into group lessons like on the weekends and tournaments, and then you have private lessons where you're obviously charging more, but that's where you're kind of doing. And I was already doing that at a young age, and I was kind of watching what the internet was becoming. And so I educated myself to the best that I could as a young guy who was, as I said, trying to hold his marriage together and working multiple jobs. And I was trying to build a website that was built around virtual chess entertainment. And I wanted to do other things. I wanted it to be articles, lectures, and basically what would have been like the earliest versions of Chess TV. But I had no idea what I was doing. I was a total shit show, right? I had like hired this third-party development firm who was also outsourcing it to like another firm. And I ended up walking away from that. And this is now I'm transferring ahead, but years later, I was still trying to build this while I was working with Eric and Jay for the early on. But when we decided to launch Chess TV, which was literally the dream, and I had already built up, a pretty decent following and a lot of people who liked the videos and the articles that I was writing on chess.com, Eric and Jay and David, who was still there at the time, were kind of like, what are you doing? Like, you should just be doing this. And I'm like, you're right. So I literally walked away. And the most painful part about this is the whole thing cost me like 40 grand. This is money I didn't have. Like, I was like borrowing money. I owed people money. And to get like the last payment off the board, I sold my paid off Honda Civic to get like the last 10 grand. I got like 8 grand for it and had a couple thousand. I paid this firm and then like walked away from the whole thing and never got any of the money back. It was one of the dumbest mistakes I've ever made in my life. And it was so painful, but ultimately it was like, it was so obvious. And, the financial lesson was small in comparison to the other ones. And so anyway, but that was a wild time. But yeah, that was what I was doing at the early stages of chess, virtual internet, the whatever it was becoming. And then there's all the stories of what happened with Justin TV and Twitch and how we got the /chess moniker everywhere and kind of expanded our brand beyond just the chess.com domain. But that's kind of a longer story.